Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. I'm Jay Zawoski with Greg Boyson and Mario Tirabassi. We are here. We are showing you our legs.
It's leg day.
It is summer. Let's do this. It looks like I have no pants on. Should I just keep it that way and try to get/lose viewers?
We do have the Roman read today. So
ooh, yeah. Let's see what happens. That'll be exciting.
That plays in nicely.
We've got a lot to get to today. Before we do, make sure you smash that like button on YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. Podcast listeners, make sure you're following or subscribed on your favorite podcast app. Or, hey, download all the podcast apps and follow and subscribe on all of them because it helps us out big time, just like a 5-star review helps us out. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, that's the place to do that. And those 5-star reviews are very, very helpful. So we had our post-game show end last night. Hawks upset the Penguins 5-2 in a game the Penguins had to have, and it did some damage to the tank standings. And what we're going to do today, along with some other things, is kind of update you on what needs to happen in order for the Blackhawks to pick, to have the best odds to pick number one, to win the tank standings, and get into some conversation around there. We're going to go around the league a little bit as well. So, fellas, we were talking before the show, and I think I've got everything correct. So let's hash it out right now. Here's what needs to happen. The current tank standings. Columbus is at the top. They've got 57 points and 24 wins in 80 games. Anaheim is second. They've got 58 points and 23 wins in 81 games. The Hawks are third with 58 points and 26 wins in 81 games. And the San Jose Sharks have 60 points and 22 wins in 80 games. The Hawks play the Flyers tomorrow, last game of the year. The Blue Jackets have 2 games left, tomorrow versus Pittsburgh and against the Sabres on Friday. The Sharks play at Calgary tonight and at Edmonton tomorrow. The Hawks need 1 point from the Ducks and the Jackets to get 2 points total. And the Hawks must lose tomorrow in regulation for their shot at the best spot to win the tank standings. If the Hawks win, they could potentially fall as far as fourth based on wins versus San Jose.
Yep.
So there are your scenarios. Best thing that can happen for the Hawks have to lose to the Flyers. They need the Ducks to get a point. They need the Jackets to get 2 points over their last 2 games. If all those things happen, the Hawks will have the best shot at Connor Bedard.
Yeah, that's all that they need.
That's all.
Yeah, and last night's game did them no favors, but I think you look at it and the front office put a team together all season and especially after the trade deadline to put them in the best position to be at the bottom of the standings, and that's all that they could do. All Kyle Davidson could do was put together this team that on paper should be losing every game. The guys go out there and they play. Luke Richardson goes out there and the coaching staff gets them ready to play, and then it's on the players and it's on their opponents. So that we talked about it last night. The loss to the Penguins was a Penguins problem. That was a potentially clinching scenario for them, and they completely blew it against a team that they should have won. Mentioned in the chat a couple times already, the wins against Boston and Calgary and stuff. Look, like those teams, if they want to be ready for the playoffs and get into the playoffs, which Calgary did not, those are games you win. That's their problem. And the Blackhawks have gone out. The players have put together their best efforts, their best games. That's what they're supposed to do. You're never going to find a professional athlete that says, hey, next year when I don't have a contract, maybe this team will be really good, so maybe we should lose. Like, no player will ever say that. So management did what they were supposed to do. The players did what they were supposed to do, and now it's down to the final handful of games of the season. So this is the best position that they could be in, given the way that the team was built.
At the beginning of the year, if we said the Blackhawks are going to finish the season with 58 points, we'd be like, excellent.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be the worst record, the fewest points in the league. Because I think last year was Montreal, I think, had 60 points, maybe?
56 it might have been. It wasn't a whole lot.
Right.
So.
But if we said 58, that would have been great. We would all have been for it.
Yeah.
Take our chances. Since the Blackhawks beat the Boston Bruins on March 13th, they're 2-11. They suck.
Yeah.
They're doing everything possible. They cannot control what the Ducks and the Blue Jackets are doing. And for saying, well, the Blue Jackets are doing everything to lose, the Blue Jackets have more points in the last 10 games than the Blackhawks do.
Yeah.
50.
They have the same amount of points. They're 2-6-2. The Blackhawks are 2-8-2 in the last 10. So enough. The anxiety. I get it. You want to have the best shot at Connor Bedard. Even if you have the best shot at Connor Bedard, doesn't mean you're getting him. Things that are out of your control. This is something I've learned over my life in the last 4 years. Worry about the things that you can control. Worrying about what other people are doing or other teams are doing, it's just a waste of your time and energy because you have no control over it. The Blackhawks have set themselves up the best way possible to finish with the fewest amount of points this year. And they still may. Or they'll be second. Or they'll be third. They have 6 picks in the first 2 rounds this year. Adding into the 5th-rated prospect pool. Yes, Connor Bedard would be fantastic. If they don't get Connor Bedard, is the pool all of a sudden going to fall to 32nd? No, it's still going to be a top 5 pool. So, yeah, I get it. We want Connor Bedard. Everybody here wants Connor Bedard. Or Adam Fantilli. If they don't get him, disappointing. Yes. End of the world? No.
Yeah.
You got a lot coming, and you got a lot more coming, and you've got a ton of picks this year. You've got a ton of picks next year. You've already got a ton of picks in 2025. It will be okay if you don't get number. It's not a lost season. You didn't make all those trades just to get Connor Bedard. You made those trades so you can maybe get Connor Bedard and a shit ton more.
Right.
So let's relax.
Yeah.
And even if the Hawks finish with the worst record in the league, the chances of them of not getting number 1 are still significantly more than if they were to get it. So I understand it guarantees top 3. And that would be fantastic. But if it doesn't happen, it's still in the fate of the lotto balls. And none of us can control that.
Right.
So let's relax. We're giving ourselves gray hairs we don't need. We're taking years off our life. It's gonna be okay. Well, it's a beautiful day outside. Go outside and smell a flower. It will be okay.
Yeah. If there is someone who can control it, like Gary Bettman, keep in mind that person would very likely want that ball to land in the Blackhawks' favor.
Yes.
Like, it would be good for everyone involved if the Hawks get Connor Bedard.
Everyone's wallets.
It would be the best thing for the league. And there's some people saying they should have done more to assure they finished last. Like what?
Andres Athanasiou is your best forward. What more do you want to do?
You traded Patrick Kane, Max Domi, Jake McCabe, Sam Lafferty, Alex DeBrincat before the year, Kirby Dach before the year. You sent down Lucas Reichel, who was your best performing forward since the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. You shut down Taylor Radish, who couldn't possibly play 3 more games. Oh, his body was too ravaged to play 3 more games. You called up Buddy Effin Robinson, who now has 3 points in his last 2 games. Like, what more do you want them to do? Right. And this concept of, like, call up a rookie goalie and start Anton Hudobin. You can't do that. You can't just, like, tell the team that has played their ass off for you for 82 games, like, sorry, fellas, you're going to sit tonight because we want to lose on purpose. That is how you ruin a culture. That is how you piss off a room full of prideful guys that have played hard and worked hard all year. If I was in that locker room, I'd be like, F that. No. Right. Absolutely not. That's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, that's you could do that, but then you lose a lot of you lose a lot of the relationship building that you have made with, as Kyle Davidson, as Luke Richardson. Like, you lose a lot of the credibility that you have with the team and with the players. And honestly, like, if any team player outside the organization saw that and they'd be like, well, if we're not good next year and I'm playing well, am I going to be sat? Am I going to be traded? Like, it's not the look that you want to go with. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, like Greg said, like, everything that everyone could control, they controlled. Front office put together a team that was not going to win a lot of games. Players put together efforts that won them some games that they shouldn't have, and that's really, like, that's what you ask of players, is to go out and play your best. That's the idea that, they should have played all their rookies. It should have just been all Ice Hogs this year. That doesn't.
So it can ruin more development.
Yeah,
so
it's
right. So you ruin some kids.
We've always said for the last 10 years is we don't know how to develop anybody, and we're starting to develop people, and you want them up here so you can lose a game in April. Blow it out your ass.
Well, yeah, and people are mad too, like, well, you're trading them for these prospects and they're unknown, but let's call these prospects up and screw them up for a 25% chance at a player. Like, you can't have it both ways. Do you want the players developed, or do you want to take a 75% chance of not getting Connor Bedard?
Last year's bottom four teams, just to finish that off. 61 points for the Flyers, 60 points for the Kraken, 57 for the Coyotes, and 55 for the Canadiens. So the Blackhawks with 58 right now, that's where they would have been last year. So that's all they can do.
The 2 wins the Blackhawks have the last 13 games are at Calgary and at Pittsburgh, 2 teams playing for their playoff life. Yep. Be mad at those 2 teams for piddling down their legs.
And one that missed the playoffs now.
Both of them probably.
Both of them maybe,
yeah.
The
Islanders get a point tonight, they're in. So put your anger and frustration towards the 2 teams that were playing for their playoff lives on home ice. Both, the Penguins on a second half of a back-to-back for the Blackhawks, who had lost the night before in heartbreaking fashion, showed up at 3 a.m, had to play only 11 forwards, and they lose 5-2 with their playoff life. Put your frustration towards them. Like, the Blackhawks are doing everything that they possibly can to put themselves in the best position to still not get Connor Bedard 3 out of 4 times.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be okay.
Look at the times we do the tank spins. I would say probably far less than, we haven't kept track of it, but far less than 50% of the time, whatever team is number 1 in the tank standings, that we've been doing it, far less than 50% of the time, the number 1 team has won it. I'd say probably less than 30% of the time.
Probably about
the number
25%
1
of
team.
the time.
Probably about,
I would say, if I had to guess, educated guess, about 25% of the time they win.
Yeah. So, look, Montreal jumped up, or Montreal won from the worst record last year. There's only been 2 stretches of time where there have been consecutive number 1 picks won by the team with the worst record. It was last year and 2021, and then it was, if my memory serves me correctly, 96. It was either 96, 97, 98, or 97, 98, 99. And those are the only times it's been consecutive. Yeah. So, I'm just law of averages. I really don't think it's gonna be a three-peat again.
No.
So
our buddy
we'll
Jason brings up a good point, saying, how does Colorado feel about missing on Connor McDavid and instead getting Mikko Rantanen in pick 10 in 2015?
Pretty good, probably.
That's it. Like, I said this the other night, it's not Connor Bedard or nothing. Right? It's Adam Fantilli or Leo Carlson or Matvei Michkov or whoever you want to name.
All be number 1 overall in any other draft.
Correct.
Most other drafts.
And the other picks you got for making these trades.
Yeah.
In the 2nd round, in the 3rd round, in the 4th round,
Later
and
in the first
you
round.
have.
Guess what? If you pick 3 and you really want Fantilli, you can say to whoever's at 2, look, we're going to give you 3, and we're going to give you our 2 firsts from Tampa to get Fantilli. If you're that, you have all the draft capital in the world you want.
Could. I don't know if the team does it, but you could do it. Yeah.
But the capital, no one's going to trade out of 1. That's not going to happen.
No.
But if you're hell-bent on 2 or 3, and you land at 4 or 5, you can trade into 3.
Could try.
You could trade into 2. 2 might be tough.
Yeah.
3 you can trade
3
into.
you could probably
if you
talk
get 4
a team
or 5,
into
you
it.
could talk a team into trading.
Yeah, look, like we've said, like their prospect pool has improved dramatically. And if you make all of the picks that you have in this year's draft, you are adding 6 of the top 64 players in this draft class, which has been spoken about for an entire year about how deep and front-loaded this draft class is. You are likely adding at least 3, maybe 4, quote-unquote, first-round caliber prospects.
Yeah.
And if Connor Bedard is part of it, fantastic, even better. If Adam Fantilli is part of it, that's wonderful. If they're not, that's still 4 first-round caliber prospects and 6 of the top 64 to a prospect class that has improved dramatically. Yes, you need top-end elite superstars to win games consistently, to consistently be in it, but we had a question the other day. One of our mailbags was, would you rather have 1 60-goal scorer or 2 30s? If you have a team of 30 goal scorers, like 3 or 4 of them, like you have a pretty good setup there.
Yeah,
having a balance of talent and a balance of guys coming up all at the same time is going to do wonders. If you put everything on Connor Bedard's back, like Edmonton did with McDavid for a long time, he's still cup chasing.
The LA Kings won the 2014 Stanley Cup. Their leading scorer had 70 points.
Yeah.
Jeff Carter. So Kopitar had 70. Jeff Carter had 50. Justin Williams, 43. Mike Richards, 41. Drew Doughty, 37. Slava Voynov, Pudwack, 34. You've got depth there. It doesn't always take a superstar. How many of those guys were taken
in the top 5 of the draft?
That's good. Well, I know Doughty was, right?
Doughty was a top 5. I don't think so. Kopitar might have been a 4th or 5th pick, wasn't he?
No, he was.
Was he
Doughty
really?
was 2nd overall.
Okay, so there's one.
Yeah.
Kopitar was taken after the Blackhawks took Jack Skilly that draft, if you remember that. He was like 7th or 8th.
Tough.
Yeah. So yeah, not many top 3, top 4 draft picks on that Kings team.
And we've talked about the 2010, 13, and 15 Cup teams. None of them had a guy that scored 40 goals. None of them had a 100-point player. Like they had balance and depth and could come at you in multiple ways. You look at what the Oilers have done with McDavid. It's basically been, if you stop their top line and score a few goals on their random goaltender of the year, you got a good chance of knocking them out of a playoff round.
Maybe.
2015 Hawks, by the way, leading scorer was Jonathan Toews with 66 points in 81 games. Patrick Kane got hurt. He was on an 86-point pace.
Yeah.
And he would have been their leading scorer had he played healthy. You could presume. Marion Host is 60, Brandon Saad 52. Again, it is about quantity. And, of course, we're not saying they don't want Connor Bedard because he's too good.
You absolutely want him.
Of course you want him. But it's not – I think we've been trying to communicate this all year, and maybe we haven't done a good enough job somehow. It's not just him.
No.
And to say that the Hawks have based this entire rebuild on a percentage chance of getting Connor Bedard,
you're not paying attention.
It's false. It is
6 picks in the first 2 rounds. It's telling you they are not putting all their eggs in the Connor Bedard basket.
And that's a horrible, horrible plan. If you hinge all of your rebuild on one player, that you go into the draft not even having a guarantee that you're getting that player, if that was Kyle Davidson's plan, he'd be fired the day after the draft.
Yes.
if they didn't get Connor Bedard.
See that
draft lottery.
To me, that's
sure.
To me, that's looking ahead to the 2024 free agency class and saying, our plan to win the Stanley Cup is to sign Austin Matthews. That's a bad plan,
right?
Because 31 other teams are going to want Austin Matthews, and maybe you're in their top 5, right?
And maybe he doesn't even hit free agency.
Exactly.
Like
that is a bad calculus.
Yeah.
But saying, hey, it'd be nice to have the best odds of Connor Bedard. If we don't, we're still going to get a really damn good player in the top 4. Yeah. Cool. Right? I don't know.
Whoever
I think
the Hawks pick with that first pick, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5, automatically becomes the best prospect in the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately.
So it's going to be okay.
Like,
yes, we all want Connor Bedard. We all want the number 1 pick. But from day one, the odds have not been in the the odds are against the Hawks for that happening. Yes, now the odds are significantly worse, and that sucks. But it will be okay.
When does the Regina Pats next playoff series start?
It is
They're done.
potentially next season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're done.
Connor Bedard's been eliminated from the playoffs because it's
He-
not a one-man sport.
He had 20 points in a 7-game series, and they lost.
And they lost.
Yeah, and they were like the 8th or 7th or 8th seed in their conference in the WHL. So it wasn't like the Regina Pats were riding Bedard to the top of the standings and first top seed. No, they barely made the playoffs. There was chatter of them trading him at the WHL trade deadline, and they were like, oh, no, we need to sell tickets. Like, we need Connor Bedard to sell us tickets the rest of the season. And, yeah, he dragged them as far as he could by himself. Yeah, I mean, the worst pick the Blackhawks could get right now in the nightmare scenario is 6th. They have a they have the chance of walking away with one of these players: Connor Bedard, Adam Fantilli, Leo Carlson, Matvei Michkov, Will Smith, and Zach Benson. That's who I would say are the top 6 guys in the draft class right now. You get one of those 6 guys, and they are immediately the number 1 prospect in the class.
Yep.
Doesn't matter who it is; they're immediately number 1.
Yep.
And I'm okay with any of those guys.
Yeah,
Bring 'em
there's
all. Bring 'em
stuff
in.
to love about all 6 of them, and as soon as we know May 8th, whatever pick they have, we can start salivating over whoever they're gonna pick, because it's mostly set in stone. 1 through 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll see with
muddier
Michkov,
there, yeah.
but one of those guys is going to be a Blackhawk.
Well, either way, the future's bright.
Yes, the future.
And when it gets
is
bright, Greg, what do we need to do?
We need to talk to our buddy shirtless dart guy that was just outside.
Oh, was he? I missed him.
The weather is getting nice because he was out there with no shirt and a dart. We need to get him.
That's what the Cubs call a naked man.
Okay,
Out
he's
there.
shirtless. Well, in
Naked
hockey,
man?
in
No.
hockey they smoke darts, so he's shirtless
He's
dart
not
guy.
fully naked though.
Right. He's got pants on. But what he is, his eyeballs are naked, and I worry about his eyeballs. We need to get his eyeballs protected with some polarized sunglasses
There you go.
from Shady Rays. Take on the sun while you're wearing no shirt and smoking your dart with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good. Nope, it's even better than any expensive pair any of us have worn. Durable frames, and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. I love wearing them when I'm driving, even if it's not super sunny out. As long as it's daytime, I have them on because the optics are super clear and crisp. Helps me when I'm driving. That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, if you drop them right out of the box and break, they told us they will send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. They don't care how you broke them. They will just replace them. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they will have your back long after you purchase. And together with their customers, Shady Rays is providing much-needed support to nonprofit partners across the United States through Shady Rays Impact. From building play sets for pediatric cancer patients to providing young adults with MS the outdoor adventure of a lifetime, Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others like it now and for years to come. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange for a new pair or return them free of charge within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back and your eyes. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com, use the promo code CHGO, and you'll get 50% off any order featuring 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. The more you buy, the more you save. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
It's a lot of people, and that's a lot of stars. And when Shirtless Dart Guy has a nice night out at the bars and he does become Naked Dart Guy, he's going to want to be able to perform
Different kind of dart.
before he gets that post-coital dart. Right? When the robe comes off and the partner arrives upstairs in the 4th floor,
I think so.
he's going to want to perform. He wants a better sex life. We want a better sex life. You want a better sex life.
God, I hope he's watching.
Speaking for
Up
him.
to 50% of men, including maybe Shirtless Dart Guy, there's a 50-50 chance, have symptoms that get in the way of wanting or enjoying sex. Yes, you want a better sex life, and you are not alone if you're feeling like it could get better, and Roman is here to help. Roman is the digital health clinic for men, addressing a variety of sexual health needs and offering genuine medication that helps achieve and maintain a big old boner. A strong erection, if you will. Roman offers discreet wipes that help you last 4 times longer in bed. Wow, that's like 12 minutes.
It's like a whole minute.
Sure.
Wow, that's amazing.
Do
In
your
men
own
with
math.
low T, getting testosterone levels back to normal can help increase your libido and your boner. Roman offers a testosterone test, which includes lab processing, because without that, it's just a swab somewhere. And if it's appropriate for you, treatment for low testosterone. There are no waiting rooms. There are no hassles. Straightforward digital experience from the comfort of your home or your patio where you smoke. If medication or testing is appropriate, Roman will send it right to your home. Everything arrives in discreet packaging with free 2-day shippings, so you're not going to get a box that says Dick Meds. It's going to be a nice plain box, and some people like a plain box. Some people like a little more decorative box. Either way, Roman can help.
No matter how you like your box, Roman.
That's exactly
Got you
right.
covered.
That everyone is covered by Roman. To learn more about how you can achieve your personal sexual health goals, go to ro.co/CHGO to get 20% off your entire order. Your first order. Sorry, that's ro.co/CHGO. Show her your O face with Roman.
It's a lot of O's.
That is a lot of O's.
I wonder
We're gonna need him.
when Shirtless Dart Guy bought that condo, that he imagined that one day he would be the star
He would be in
of erectile dysfunction medicine ad for a local sports show.
He's not out on his balcony shaking his fist at us.
Oh man.
I think he's online having that free online consultant with a doctor with Roman right
Hey,
now.
He
that's-
might be.
I
Yeah.
sold the hell out of that one, I gotta say.
was good.
Maybe put down the darts too. That would probably help you live a little
Roman
longer.
darts.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the couple questions here in the chat. This one from Nathan asking about Will Smith. What do you guys think of Will Smith? He has more points than Patrick Kane did in his draft year, and in my opinion, better hands. Or Gabe Perreault, son of Yannick Perreault, who has 120 points in 53 games in the same league. Both guys playing for the U.S. Development League or U.S. Development Program. I really like Will Smith, and both of these guys could be available for the Blackhawks depending on where they pick, because Gabe Perreault is going to be in that mid-teens, 20s range in the first round. And I think they're both great forwards. You can't get enough of them for the Blackhawks at this point, because you really just have Lucas Reichel right now, and then you have a lot of guys coming in the next few years. But adding more to it is going to be helpful, especially because the blue line is kind of getting to that point where you're like, I can see the next 6 guys. So yeah, I think both those guys have a lot of qualities that are going to be beneficial. Will Smith's a little undersized, but I mean, he's still 18. He can grow and physically mature to be a quality center. He's got a high offensive game, high upside in his offensive game. Really, a lot of creativity to his game, which is awesome. It's kind of like Nazar, but with a better shot, is what I've been seeing from him. So if they're in the 5-6, if they're in a pick, 5 or 6, I would love for Will Smith to end up being a Blackhawk. That's a totally fine consolation prize there. And yeah, Gabe Perreault, he's one of the guys that I think with that second first round pick that they have would be a good target for them to go for.
Well, if John McDonough was still in charge, they'd definitely draft him because his dad is a consultant or a coach for the Hawks, and
He's the face-off coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, points are nice at the junior level, but I tend to think they could be a little overrated at times, especially depending on what league you're playing in. I mean, if you're a first round, second round, third round talent, you should be lighting up the USHL or the OHL. I mean, just it doesn't necessarily translate to them being a superstar scorer in the NHL level because
it's a good indicator, though.
I mean, Dave Bolin finished his last season in the OHL with 130 points in 59 games.
Yeah.
And his career high in the NHL was his rookie season, 47. So, I mean, Mackenzie Entwistle was a point-per-game guy in the OHL. And, you know, he is not a point-per-game guy.
No.
Well,
but
he's
he had to
coping.
change. He had to change his
different
the way
guys.
he
Yeah,
played.
different guys change their games.
And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that Will Smith is going to be Mackenzie Entwistle or Dave Bolin, and those guys are special players. But sometimes if you just look at the point column when you're dealing with draft prospects, sometimes it could lead you into some disappointment. There's been a lot of guys who were scoring machines in juniors, and then they're fourth liners or career AHLers.
Yeah.
So just because you have a ton of points in the OHL or WHL doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a star. Sometimes you have to change the way you play the game to get to the NHL, like Dave Bolin, like Mackenzie Entwistle. Mackenzie Entwistle had to become a fourth-line physical winger if he had wanted any chance to ever play in the NHL.
Yeah, he wasn't going to try and score his way to the NHL.
No, he just wasn't there.
Yeah, and you got to give him a pass, too, after that unfortunate steamroller accident that wiped out his entire family.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you expect from a guy?
Yeah,
He's got to rebuild his whole life after that.
you really do. Yeah.
Tragic.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Michkov a little bit. Was this last week? It feels like a lifetime ago when the stories about his father, who was missing for 2 days, and he was found in a
Yeah, that
pond.
was about a week
I haven't
ago.
seen much about it since then. Even before that,
know.
there was some concern about he's under contract for a few more years in Russia. And then when that contract's up, will he even come to the United States? We don't know what Russian-American relations will be at that point. So he's a risky pick. Now, if his name was, Gordy McHugh and he was from Ontario, he'd be the number 2 pick probably guaranteed.
I think so, yeah.
And that's the question is, I don't think the Hawks are going to take him. I think this draft is too important to take Michkov as their top pick. Now, if he starts sliding down a little bit and they feel they can trade up and get him, they can maybe do that.
Yeah.
My question is, how far is he really going to slide? I don't know. I saw Eric say anyone that has, if he's on the board at 4, not drafting him is malpractice. I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
But
at
the same time,
it has to be the right team.
Could be a team that has nothing but time.
Yeah.
Technically, that's the Blackhawks. I mean, their prospect pool is pretty good, and you've got 6 more picks. You got 6 picks. You can wait for him if you think he's good enough. I'm not sure. If where the Hawks are at 3, I'm not taking Michkov there. I'm going to take Leo Carlson. That's a safer pick. 4. I wouldn't be mad at it.
You have
I wouldn't be outraged.
absolutely not. It's just scary that
You have to entertain the idea of taking him because he's that talented.
Kalen has a good point. He's not sliding past the Capitals if he makes it that far. Probably right.
Sure, yeah. Wherever they end up. Yeah,
Ovechkin can make a couple phone calls and he'll be here next season.
Right.
Yeah, right,
Right.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, if the Blackhawks are at 4, man, if the Blackhawks are at 4, maybe they get on. Maybe their phone starts ringing with teams that are at 5 and 6 and say we want to take them, and they consider maybe moving back, getting some extra picks. That could be on the table, but I don't know if the Blackhawks necessarily are in the position to roll the dice that in 4 years he'll be here. Maybe. I think that they want to have a chance at a guy, whoever they take, if they're in the fourth or third or fourth slot. I think you want to take a guy who could maybe be here within 3 seasons or better. I think that's probably where they want to go. And look, if nightmare scenario happens and they fall all the way to 6 and he's on the board,
Or you jump
take
at
him.
it.
Then you take him.
Yep.
I don't think you have any questions there. But at 4, I think it's just got to be the right team. And I'm not convinced the Blackhawks are the right team to wait. and roll the dice because they've been burned before. So I don't know.
Eric again brings up a good point. He says anyone else a team could take at 4 would take 2 or 3 years anyway to become a full-time contributor. Just wait for Michkov and take advantage of the upside. Because the thought would be there's 2 guys in this draft that everyone feels are NHL ready. Bedard and Fantilli are most likely going to come and start their NHL careers next year.
Potentially, yeah.
Bedard for sure. Fantilli, 80%, 85%, somewhere along the lines
I'd
there.
say it's likely that he'll play.
Unless he really, really struggles in training camps and in preseason games. I think the odds are very high that he...
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be able to be in preseason games, though. Right? He'd have to go back. He'd have to be already back at Michigan by that time. Because school starts.
Didn't some Hawks college players play in preseason this year? Maybe not.
I don't think so.
I must be thinking of prospects camp. Well, either way.
Prospect camp, yeah. But
You'll
training camp, none of the college guys
are
are
in training camp if he's struggling, right? Because it will stand out.
Yeah, but then you're kind of stuck with him because he can't go anywhere else if he leaves college.
Refresh my memory. What are the conditions for the Toronto and the Rangers picks? Are any of them for first round this year? They're both next year, right?
It's, if my memory serves me, it is I think it's the Toronto one becomes goes from like a second to a first, but I think it's 2025.
I think that's right. And the Rangers
and then the Rangers one, it goes from like a third to a second or something like that in 2024 or something like that, or third to a first.
Okay.
I can't remember. It was very convoluted, the whole thing.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just thinking if all right. Let's see what happens here. Second round pick can turn into a first round pick if the Rangers make the conference finals, but it's for either 2024 or 2025. So I just couldn't remember if if there was a chance for them to get a third first round pick this year.
Yeah.
And if that was the case, then maybe you roll the dice on Michkov at 3 or 4, knowing you've got 2 more first round picks.
Sure.
But you only have the one. But if the Hawks take Michkov 3rd, 4th, 5th, I won't be angry. As Eric said, it's a good point. Like, you're probably going to wait 2 or 3 years anyway.
Sure.
And and there's a chance that he may never come. Sure. And there's a chance that Zach Benson could be a complete bust and never play in the NHL too. So
yeah,
I mean, the odds are against that.
Each pick is a roll of the dice to a certain degree.
Right.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be angry at it. I think excuse me. The sense I get from Kyle Davidson is that he likes putting his money on more of the sure things. I don't think he's a gunslinger, shoot from the hip, risk-taking GM, at least not at this point of his career. I think knowing that how important that pick is, he's probably wants to make the safer decision.
Yeah.
But he's also shown that he is listening to his scouting staff and his assistants. And if they're all screaming at him, you have to take Michkov, then he'll take Michkov.
Listen, yeah. And I think one thing that we're seeing from last year's draft class and what I think has been beneficial is the Blackhawks development staff being able to be very hands-on. All but one of their picks last year were all North American, and I think the chance of, your best prospects playing in Russia in a league that doesn't value other teams' prospects, that's also a gamble. That's also something to kind of take into consideration, because you look at it, you look at the skills that he has, Michkov, and he was was part of one of the top teams in the KHL with St. Petersburg, and they weren't playing him because he's 17 years old. And they don't care about playing young guys. They care about playing the veterans to win games and win the KHL Cup. I forget what it's called. The Gagarin, something like that.
It's named after an astronaut.
So he had to go to a lower tier league and then eventually to a lower tier KHL team, and then was lighting it up as a teenager in the KHL with I think it was Sochi he was with.
So yeah, and it was Sochi with 20 points in 27 games.
Yeah, so. Do you want your prospect to have to play in the Russian minor leagues because he's a prospect for another team, and his parent club is not going to play him because they don't care about developing him. I don't think that is something that Kyle Davidson, at least from what we've observed of him and the development staff and how the Blackhawks have been handling prospects, I don't think that that's something that really meshes with what they want to do. But again, for a player like him, maybe it's worth it. I don't know. It's
hard. It's hard to glean.
I'm glad
too
I don't have to make this decision.
After one Davidson draft, I think it's hard to glean too much because Rinzel was a risk, but again, it was kind of a third first round pick. Yeah. So you can take that risk. I think you're right, and your point about having your hands on scouts and development people, that's spot on because they want to have hands in the development without meddling. Right. We heard it from Ralston. We heard it from all the guys in the Thunderbirds. They all said we hear from them, we get tips, but they're not in our faces all the time trying to interfere with what our coaches are teaching us. But they're always there. If Michkov is off in Sochi, maybe they don't talk to him for months at a time. You know what I mean? I could see that not being something that is tempting to the Hawks.
They can send Scott Powers over. He can keep tabs on.
Yeah, he'll do it.
Yeah, he's done stuff like that before.
It is such an important pick. We have been aiming towards this day for the better part of 18 months, maybe more.
Since we launched.
Yeah, seriously, it has been the number one focus, knowing that this could be the draft that turns the fortunes of the franchise. And that could happen between 1 and 5. Make no mistake, right? It doesn't have to be 1 or 2. It would help. But either way, they're going to get their top prospect, like you said earlier, Greg. I just don't think you could take your chances on lottery balls. I don't think he's willing to take a 0% chance. There is a chance that he never plays here.
Yep.
There's a chance that Michkov never comes to the NHL. Maybe San Jose is comfortable with that. Maybe Columbus is comfortable with that because they've got some NHL talent.
Right.
Do they?
Well, theoretically.
In theory.
I don't know. If they pick him, I'm going to be excited about it. But you talk about the anxiety about the draft lottery and the draft. It's going to be 3-4 years of anxiety wondering, is he or is he not going to come? And it's going to be topic number 1 on this show for the foreseeable future.
It's
okay, so don't take him. I changed my mind. Don't take him. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, always having that kind of in the back of your mind being like, okay, Michkov's our best guy. Who knows if we'll ever see him play? That would be that'd be hard.
And Jason says Kaprizov came over. How does Minnesota feel about that pick? It was a different time and place politically.
Also a 5th round pick.
It was a 5th round pick.
Wasn't
and remember, he disappeared this summer.
Yeah,
they couldn't find him this summer. Things are not great.
Yeah. If Michkov is there in the 4th round, you absolutely do it.
Yes,
because there's no. That's all reward, no risk. You don't. Kaprizov wasn't picked 3rd overall.
No,
he was picked 100 and something overall.
Artemi Panarin was never drafted.
He was never drafted. No.
So players, Russian players, it's different. So you gotta understand what you're kind of getting into when you go into that market and with those kinds of prospects. And look, there's a lot of talented players for sure that either never come over or they spend 7 professional seasons in Russia before they come over and look at Kuzmenko with Vancouver. Yeah. Another guy who became a top player in Russia and then came over as a mid-20s guy. And
who's the guy from Vegas, their first year?
Vegas' first year?
He was supposed to be the hot shit talent, top Russian guy. Finally came over, and then they played him 1 game and tried to send him to the Wolves, and then they ended up trading him. Who was that guy?
It
Stand by. I'll find it.
Gusev?
No.
What was their first year?
2017-18.
He played a couple games for them. He was supposed to be
that's it. Shipachev.
Yeah. That guy.
Shipachev.
Yeah. So he was supposed to be a no
doubter.
No doubter. He was a stud in the KHL, and
still is.
Vegas,
but he's in the KHL again.
Vegas brought him here, and we're like, well, we somehow managed to screw up our salary cap before we even played a game, so we don't have the room for you. How about you go to Rosemont, Illinois? And he's like, nope. How about you send me the F back to Russia?
Well, I mean, too, it's also a culture shock where these kids are like, oh, I'm not into this. I'm not. Russia and America are very different.
It's a transition.
Yeah,
for sure. So I think there's definitely merit to taking him for sure. I just think it's a big roll of the dice. So I wonder if there's any other movement that they make on draft day, depending on where they land. Like if they have the 4th pick, do they trade, a future first, one of the future firsts that they have in their back pocket to get back into this year's first round and be like, well, now we have 3 first-round picks, and one of them can maybe be the gamble on Michkov, and then you take, 2 guys in the teens or 20s or something like that, and kind of roll with that. I don't know. I think the best case scenario is on May 8th, either get the 1st or 2nd pick, and we don't have to worry about anything at all.
That'd be great. There's no anxiety. There's no stress.
It's totally fine. Then we'll be like, okay, Connor Bedard or Adam Fantilli, and then we'll focus on the rest of the draft after it.
Yep, that would be great.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
1 or 2 would be just freaking fantastic.
Yep.
Would make the next 8 weeks, 9 weeks after that go by smoothly. Here's the thing with like Michkov. The Hawks pick 4th and they get Michkov. Man, there's going to be a lot of backlash on that. There are going to be a lot of people screaming, "Oh, could you do that?" Or if you pass on Michkov, probably a lot of the same people screaming, "How do you pass on him?" But as we've learned, Kyle Davidson doesn't care about public backlash about anything. He's made some very unpopular moves already in the sake of building a true Stanley Cup contender. And that's all I want out of my GM.
Yep.
Yeah.
A guy with a plan and some stones usually goes far.
Yeah.
And I've yet to hear of a better plan. We got a lot of people, the same people, on our Twitter and on our chat saying this is the wrong thing to do. It's like, feel free to present an alternative. Mm-hmm. Well, they shouldn't have done this and that. What should they
sign
do
better players
instead right now? No one's got an answer for it.
Draft better.
Yeah.
Be better.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the plan. Hey, if you want to be better at golf, I don't know if Pins and Aces apparel will make you play better, but you're going to look better. Pins and Aces is the official golf apparel partner of not only us here at CHGO, but the ALLCITY Network. They are the presenting sponsor of the Big Drive Energy Golf Podcast. We love ourselves our Pins and Aces gear. They are a family-owned golf and apparel business, so you got to love that, making amazing polos, hats, golf bags that can be customizable. And, Jay, it's on its way.
Yes, sir.
Just for you
Beef
especially,
sleeve.
the beer/beef sleeve, the innovative product that allows you to store 7 beers right inside your golf bag and keep them cold the entire round. They could be beers, like our Goose Island beers. They could be sparkling waters. They could be cans of soda, cans of juice. And once it's here, we will test the beer sleeve as a beef sleeve and see what happens in the name of science.
What is the, Steven, you're our sandwich expert. You're our Jared from Subway.
All right.
Free.
Oh, boy, let's hope not. God.
That joke
You're our who's the guy from Everybody Loves Raymond with Jimmy Johns?
Yeah.
Brad Garrett. You're our
That's much better.
Brad Garrett.
Right. As far as we know.
Danny DeVito with Jersey Mike's.
There
you go. You're our Danny DeVito.
You're our Danny DeVito.
That's
better.
Well, not so much.
You're much better than Jared.
If we go get, there's an L's beef right on Taylor Street. If I bring 3 L's beefs here, throw them in the beef sleeve, how long do we need to test if they stay warm in the beef sleeve to prove the theory correct?
I say at least 3 hours.
3
Yeah,
hours?
3 hours?
It's got to, I mean,
A beef can get cold in 30
But then when
minutes.
does it turn?
If you're storing beefs into a beef sleeve, if we will,
An insulated
I would
sleeve.
want it to last at least for a long car ride or maybe a round of golf.
Round of
which
golf
is
will take you
perfect for
4
this ad
hours.
read.
Yeah.
I'm saying if I was to bring sandwich, let's say I live in Homewood. There's a great sandwich place in Homewood. I want to bring sandwiches for the gang here. I buy them, put them in the beef sleeve, bring them to work. We're talking about an hour 15.
Here's what we do. Let's start it at 2 hours. Next day, get more beefs, go 3 hours. Next day, get more beefs, go 4 hours.
I like this
kind of
plan.
experiment.
And see, we have to we just can't say, yeah, it keeps it hot for 2 hours. Well,
I will
maybe it
guinea
keeps
pig
it hot for longer.
I'll guinea pig it and I will eat it every single day
a week
That
or
works.
two.
until I say, you know what, it's a little spoiled
It's
now.
beef week.
It's beef week.
Next once the show's up, we're gonna have beef
Well,
week.
we got Charlie the Bacon Guy in the chat, who is a chef as well as a bacon craft bacon dude. Maybe he has some insight on how long a beef can sit out before turning
Yeah.
bad. But
Well, we'll figure this out in the name of science and in the name of pins and aces. But yeah, get yourself a beer/beef sleeve. Get yourself some of their amazing apparel. Check them out, pinsandaces.com. Use the promo code CHGO. You're going to get up to 15% off of your first order, and you're going to get free shipping on your order. That's pinsandaces.com, promo code CHGO. I got my email this morning, my Pins and Aces lightweight golf hoodie is in the mail, so
got
I will
one of
be
those
wearing
coming
it
my way,
soon.
too. Quick story. I won't go into the details, but the Pins and Aces customer service is top notch, quick, fast response. I had a little issue with my order I made with them, and they quickly, within minutes, responded and took care of it. So great products and
Nice.
world-class customer service.
I got I ordered the beef sleeve. I got the little Bluetooth speaker that's magnetic and sticks to your club head.
Oh, nice.
And I got a Chubbs Peterson hand ball marker. They got some cool stuff, and I got
They
a hat
got the Happy
too.
Gilmore cracker ball marker too.
Yeah.
Oh,
there-
nice,
There's a lot of
nice.
good stuff there. So
like
check it
it.
out, pinsandaces.com. It's great stuff. And I see our Cubs crew is here taking in the Cubs game. They're watching Marquee Sports Network. And if you are a cord cutter, you have one option for Marquee Sports Network. And guess what? You're in luck because it's Fubo TV, and Fubo TV is the best damn streaming service out there. It's what I use each and every day at my home, on my laptop, on my phone, wherever I want to. 140 live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. You can stream live TV from any device. We are watching Columbus and who'd they play last night?
Flyers.
The Flyers
Flyers.
last night. We were watching the Cubs game at the UC Press Box the other night. You can watch the most Chicago sports for the lowest price. Start watching immediately with a 7-day free trial. There's no contract. There's no cable. There's no hassle. Just sign up and start watching, and you get 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. Like I said, you can watch your local teams while traveling. Watch the Cubs on Marquee. Watch the Hawks on NBC Sports Chicago with Fubo TV. Use the link in our description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. Go to FuboTV.com/CHGO. That's FuboTV.com/CHGO. And use that link in our description for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro.
Very cool.
Good
Love
stuff.
Yeah.
You also see on our tabletop here, we haven't mentioned it, we've got our Die Hard box for CHGO diehards. If you've not become a CHGO diehard yet, there's never really been a better time. We are fully stocked on all of our merch. We've got new Hawks designs. We've got new Cubs and White Sox designs for the new season. This is the box you'll get if you're a diehard. You get that sticker
These
sheet,
are the stickers.
the shirt of your choice, or a hat of your choice.
there's a
You get a
membership
membership
card in there,
card.
too.
It is really a sweet looking package.
yeah.
Speaking of Roman. And
More
get
packages
one.
and boxes.
Become a diehard. AllCHGO.com. Support us. We would greatly appreciate that. And speaking of that, if you want to head there right now or when the show is over, I wrote my farewell letter to Jonathan Toews for my Blackhawks beat piece today. It was kind of
We haven't even talked about that.
tougher to write a little bit. Yeah, we haven't. I feel like tomorrow's going to be a lot about Toews.
We got all day
And
tomorrow.
Friday is going to be a lot about Toews.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I wrote my farewell letter to Jonathan Toews just in case, and I posted a photo. I don't know if you can call it up. I didn't give Steven any warning on this. There's a photo in there of my daughter reading a book to her stuffed to Jonathan Toews. I'll put this in the
That's
I'll put
cute.
this in the Slack and you can pull. it
Oh
up.
my gosh.
Oh, there it is.
What
Yeah.
a picture.
Yeah, so Addie would read to her Jonathan Toews doll every night as a kid. Addie was born after Dustin Byfuglien beat the Sharks in Game 3 of the Western Conference Final.
Nice.
She was born at 3 a.m. the morning of the 22nd. She was there when they raised the banner. She slept through the anthem.
Nice.
We have a video of her asleep on Hope's shoulder. And I kind of write about like the parallels of Toews' career and the Hawks' success with her and how it's always sort of been connected. And I always used to, there's two things I used to think. when I saw those rookie pictures of Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, like, what are these guys going to look like when they're grizzled veterans?
Yeah.
You know, like you look at like the Yzermans and the guys who are ending their career, like Joe Sakic, when they were coming in. And I used to think, looking at Addie as a kid, what is she going to look like when she's an adult? And now I know both.
Yeah.
You know, it's I don't know. It was kind of a weird, and I didn't really know which way I wanted to go with it. I just kind of typed, Dear Jonathan Toews, and just kind of let it fly.
Let it go, yeah.
So hopefully you enjoy it, but it's at allchgo.com.
That's awesome.
Because very good chance that he's played his last game in Chicago or maybe forever. So
Yeah, and peel back the curtain a little bit. We won't hear from Jonathan Toews until after Friday, tomorrow's game. No morning skate before tomorrow. It'll be very interesting to see what he has to say after the game. Probably also on Friday as well. Yep. on exit day. Yeah, it's. I expect the atmosphere to be pretty special tomorrow night with the way that things have gone, and kind of this final point of the season. Jonathan Toews is, I think you can start writing it down in ink. Last game as a Blackhawk. It'll be interesting. It's definitely a marker of the passage of time. It's weird. It's really weird. It's just the amount of time that we all have, and everyone has that's here, that's invested in this team, especially in the last 15 to 20 years. It's been wrapped up in guys like Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, and they're the last two to see the ice as Blackhawks with this run. And it's kind of fitting that Toews, as the captain, is the last one left. And I know in the last 3 years things have been difficult with his career on and off the ice. There's definitely not any sweeping that under the rug or anything. We criticized him for ways that he could have been maybe a little bit better as a leader in the locker room, and but I think as a totality of his legacy, it's going to be very interesting to see tomorrow's kind of final sentences in the final chapter written, and then see what comes of it after that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a weird night with most likely Jonathan Toews' final game, at least for the Blackhawks. So you're gonna have that energy in the building, and then, of course, the scenarios we talked about to start the show, like beating the Flyers tomorrow night would be a really bad idea. So you're gonna have people who are gonna be struggling. Like, I want to see Jonathan Toews. I want to see him have that moment of glory as he rides into the sunset. But can you do it in a loss?
I hope it's 4-2 Flyers and Toews scores both goals.
I'm for it.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
How about it?
I'm for Jonathan Toews scoring as many goals as he's want, as long as it's one less than the Flyers as the team does.
8-9.
I'm for it.
For the Flyers.
I'm for it. It's going to be a busy couple of days for us. Tomorrow morning, Kyle Davidson's going to meet with the media. We'll be there for that.
Bright and early.
9 a.m. And then we got the game. Tomorrow night's post-game show is going to be delayed. We're not going to be on right after the game as we usually are.
We are breaking our
since it's the last game of the year
system.
The three of us are going to stay for the whole game and hit post-game and then come here. So look for that about 30 minutes after the game. We'll be on the air, but we'll be ready to walk in the building and start talking about Jonathan Toews the second we get here. So a little later post-game than usual. And then Friday, as Mario mentioned, is exit interview day for the Hawks. They're taking their year-end physicals, and we're going to have media opportunities with most of the team. So that's going to be starting at like 10 a.m. We're going to be on at our usual 2:30 slot, and then we'll hopefully have a lot of audio, video clips for you. So tomorrow could be like a We Love Jonathan Toews / clip show of all the guys we get to talk to. So it's going to be a busy couple of days. And then it's right into the off season. Just because the Blackhawks season ends tomorrow night, we're not going anywhere. We're still going to be here 5 days a week.
Young Dangle God owes us $1.
Oh,
Yes, he does.
Yes, that's $1. You need 99-cent super chat.
Throw it in the re-signed Kaner jar.
Yeah. So, we are back at it next week. We're not going anywhere. Right in the off-season mode.
Off-season mode.
2 p.m. appears to be our normal time slot for the off-season. So Monday through Fridays, 2 p.m. And then, we're going to talk Stanley Cup playoffs. We're going to talk draft.
Lots of draft.
And then September.
Blackhawks will give
be
us
here.
news.
Yes. September
They always do.
September will be here before we know it.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
It was last year this time. We're like, what are we going to talk about all summer? And then it was like, holy crap, training camp starts
Well,
tomorrow.
we had our Johnson draft. Don't forget that.
Hey,
Yeah.
Sponsored by
Johnson
Roman
draft.
this year, maybe.
Yes, maybe.
Oh, nice. He's
There we go.
Love
there it
it.
is. All right.
Thank you, God. He
Nice.
paid his 99 cents.
That's a guy
Thank
who
you.
follows the rules.
There you go.
Exactly. All right, another thing about tomorrow. 3 o'clock tomorrow, I'm going to be on the CHGO Sports Show. The main topic will be probably Jonathan Toews. So I'll be doing a special show there as well if you want to check that out. It's my first time on that show. I'm excited about it.
That'll be fun.
So right here at CHGO Sports at 3
It's not
o'clock.
my show, but I'm on that show.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, before we wrap up, want to remind you, it is NBA playoff time. That means big hoops action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an
Tonight.
official sports betting partner of the NBA. Bulls and Raptors tonight. Get in on the excitement of every game with the touch of a button. New customers, you can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet and score $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Plus, everyone can score a no-sweat NBA same-game parlay every day during the playoffs. Open the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place a same-game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $10. Now, DraftKings wants me to give you an NBA bet. I'm not going to do that because I don't know shit about the NBA. So I'm going to give you a hockey bet. How about that? Here's a parlay for tonight. The San Jose Sharks at the Calgary Flames. I've got the Sharks on the money line and a Nazem Kadri anytime goal scorer. That's plus 800. A $5 bet wins you 45. There is my parlay, my same-game parlay for you. So if you want to play that, do it. If you want to bet basketball, find someone smarter. Download the app now and sign up with code CHGO. Like we said, new customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet and score $150 in bonus bets if their team wins, only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code CHGO. All right, here we go. Whew. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY or HOPENY 467-369. In Kansas City, call 1-800-522-4700. Not Kansas City, Kansas. In Kansas, call 800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
There you go.
What if I live in Utica, New York? What's the number I got?
That is 877-8-HOPE-NY. Any other, or you could text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369. Nice.
There you go.
Should we do a tank spin just for fun?
Sure.
Why not?
Why not? We
All right,
talked
we'll do
about
it.
a lot about Bedard. Let's
All right.
see.
All right, we got 29
Be
likes. We
prepared
get
to-
35 likes. We'll do a second one.
Be prepared to have your hopes and dreams shattered at the end of this show now.
Yeah.
All
All right.
right.
We'll do
We'll see
one.
what
I don't see any
happens.
likes going up, so
Yeah.
All
Let's
right,
go.
here
One
we
and
go.
done. That's all we need.
Yeah.
Come on. One and
And
done.
show on a high note.
Look at one
There it
spin,
is.
Chicago, San Jose, Columbus, Anaheim,
See?
and Montreal.
And we didn't even have the best odds, and we still got
That
them.
is
So
amazing.
your anxiety is for nothing.
After all that,
Feel so vindicated.
after all that, the Hawks win it. Amazing. All right. Thank you all for being with
Send
us.
that one to
Oh,
Toronto.
man.
We'll talk to you Thursday night for the 82nd post-game show of the year on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.